So 14 days. This is Benedek working on the preview pre-compilation, view pre-compilation. This was a PR which has been merged. And correct the method name media library service, so typo, extension, static extension, that's fine. Dev branch fixing references, view compilation error. No, this was related to the view compilation. A small change that was breaking for view compilation. This is more view compilation stuff. No, we didn't merge that. I asked for feedback. I gave some feedback and changed them. Okay. Some PRs which were merged from Laser for token enhancements for text tokens, changeable text tokens and new tokens for text, limit format trim end trim start. Media library had global media permission, so this was an old PR and it was merged finally. So now you can define permissions on the media folders. And setting up the compile build target. This is pre-compilation. We'll talk about it when it's done. Some more not PRs. A branch from SIPke. This is a PR, but it hasn't been merged yet. Probably on Thursday. To fix some issues with. Let me think. I saw the PR. Recaptcha, yes, that's why it's called the recaptcha branch. Yeah, recaptcha was called twice, he said, so he's fixing it. Let's see what it looks like, but I don't like changing that. But it will break some other stuff, sure. Let's see. So updating Castle.Core because wrong version, but I think we talked about it. Fix log filename format. So it was at a day that Carl and others were testing. Well, Carl was testing on from patient info, was testing on Linux, on Mac, and he found some issues, so we fixed them as we got them. And this was an issue. You see this file name, they were backslash, and so the logs were created in the wrong folder. But I found a new issue. So these slashes now are used, but I found a bug today that I don't have logs anymore. So I don't know if it's since this changed, but I don't see any log anytime.
No, I saw that someone mentioned that it was the upgrade to the latest Nlog component broke it.
So that's you.
Yeah.
You like to update without any reason.
Well, why not?
It can break. Never know.
Yeah, ironically, it was a very minor update. It was
Yeah.
It went from like 4.3.0 to 4.3.1.
Okay, so maybe that's it. I don't know.
Yeah, I'll check it.
Okay. Maybe there is a new one now.
That's what I was actually just about to look at.
Okay, good. Let you. So this is a branch from Jean-Thierry watching. So Nick has one job. It's to try the watching branch, and if it works for him, to merge it. That's the watching branch. That's your job. You said so. You will do that.
Yep.
So same thing, the same day, some other guy, and this some other guy, I assume was Tim. I think it was Tim. I'm not sure. Tim Mahon. I don't know how to say your name, Tim. I think it was him who reported this issue. I think we talked about it. So shape some methods on the shape factory was not working as expected. So now it's fixed. Overload to display. We talked about it, I think, also. So a new shape constructor from a driver to pass another kind of parameter which was missing. Prevent setup if the password is invalid. This was an issue which was actually reported by many of you when you were trying to set up a new Orchard.2 instance. If you typed a password which was not passing all the verification steps, it will fail in the middle of the setup. And then you will get a setup running, but without the user. So you could not log in. So now it's fixed. Now it will prevent you from starting the setup if the validation is wrong, of the username. This is when I changed DotLiquid to go to use Fluid instead, so the new liquid template library. Zoltan, have you looked at it? Have you seen it? Have you heard about it? This change.
I've heard from Twitter. So yeah, excited. Is it better than DotLiquid?
Well, I made it because I wanted it to be better than DotLiquid. So that's the goal. It's async, so you can do queries in your templates now. It's extensible, like you can define your own tags and own parameters for each tag with actual grammatical elements. It's faster, like way faster, and even more super faster if you don't have tags in your text, because in DotLiquid, if you have big text, the bigger the text, the slower it is. It's like log the n of it's like O the n, or it's slower and slower the bigger your text is. It's crazy. So this is not the case with Fluid. So yeah, that's why I did that.
Very cool.
And last weekend I made also an MVcView engine for that. So now it's also an MVcView engine, which is for fun, but yeah, it works. So now we are using Fluid instead of DotLiquid. And so I tried a benchmark last week on a body, like on a blog post with some tags inside. And I could have, so without any caching of the parsed template, like every time I get a text, I was evaluating it and rendering it. Well, the parse tree was cached, but it was still rendered dynamically. It was not cached on the response cache, and I could reach 3,500 requests per second. So like almost like static text, so super fast. So that's good. Then this change, is from Jean Thierry's branch. This is Nick's changes about what branch? Moving settings, new settings management. Be able to provide settings from many different sources at the same time. Like some settings will come from the shell settings, some others will come to the environment settings, some others from the configuration files, and so on. This is Antoine on the documentation. Update. Tim, still don't know how to pronounce your name. Mahon. Fix issue. Yeah, fixing some YAML management with the new configuration from Nick. Creating a branch, which I think is still pending, to provide a sample for environment properties. Then
do you want me to explain that configuration stuff?
If you want, if I can, maybe I will understand them.
Okay, so the goal behind it was that I've got tenant configuration on my system, but also part of the configuration needs to come from, in my instance, come from AWS. So I need to tie two configuration files together. Now, using the Microsoft configuration libraries, you can do that. You can say, I want to add a configuration file of JSON and a configuration file of XML, for example. And it will bind the two together and create you a configuration, which is quite cool. So what I needed the tenants configuration file, tenants.json, and I also needed all the keys from AWS. So I have an iConfiguration of AWS, for AWS, AWS KMS, and I also have one for tenants.json. So the two are tied together, and that's why I did this. Yeah, it's pretty. It works nicely for my solution. The final solution came out with, I wasn't too pleased with. I probably would come back and revisit it, though. I think that I don't know. I think the code, some of the code could be improved on, but the solution that came up with works. So yeah.
So why not having all the configuration on AWS?
Because some values get put. It's a bit of a weird situation. Some values get put in from TeamCity, and then other keys are managed in AWS. Yeah, it's a bit weird, but yeah. Oh, the other reason why is that in order to access the KMS on AWS, you need configuration values. So when pushing the configuration inside tenant.json, the tenant.json file has some values in order to access the KMS to get the additional keys. Like just like you'd have to do the same with the Azure Key Vault, where you need the cipher, I believe, or something like that. There's two things that you need enable to access the Azure KMS. Key Vault. So yeah, you can't put everything in AWS because there's no way. You need configuration in order to access AWS.
But we have the same issue in Orchard.1 and the same maybe solution. Do you need to have different configuration access for AWS per tenant, or isn't it just one AWS connection string?
Is it just one AWS connection string? That's a good call.
But I don't think it's per tenant, because all your tenants' configuration will be on the same key management system. And then you need just one connection string, which could be a configuration at the .NET level to configure your shell manager, which it will only be on AWS.
Let me think. I don't remember. I can't remember. I'll have to have a look at the code. I can't remember what I did, but I think my...
Because it's still the same issue. If you have some values on AWS and some values in configuration, then you will need to read all the values to read the configuration, because it's just one of any values.
No, totally.
So I think that would be simplified to have just one component, and because I don't see why you will have some configuration somewhere and some other somewhere else. For tenants,
because they didn't want to. I don't know. It's because they didn't want to store all the configuration in the KMS. So, but there was a reason why. I'll have to have a look at the system when I get back to work and see why. I don't remember offhand. I just remember thinking this is what we needed to do. So, let me have another. I'll have another look when I get back to work tomorrow.
So Ariane fixed the publication of Nlog.config, otherwise the log will not work. So I assume it was working at this point still. So it must have been broken after, like here. Upgrade and logs. Okay, so this upgrade might have broken something. And maybe it's just some configuration setting which just changed and we didn't change it after the upgrade.
Yeah, maybe. I was just looking at the release notes of that, and it looks like they updated dependencies, so who knows.
Update ExtensionManager. Oh, this is the admin theme branch.
Moving from lazy. Oh, wow, that's old, isn't it?
What?
We got rid of the. I got rid of all that stuff a long time ago.
Maybe it's a merge. I don't know. It's better. Less lazy is better.
Yeah, that was my wrapper around the concurrent dictionary stuff. But that all went a long time ago.
Okay, maybe you see merge branch master into admin theme. That may be it.
Yeah, maybe.
Master into media, because I worked on media last week, the last 2 weeks, and liquid template also. So this is what? This is the media branch, so I will skip it. So the left one is the media branch. I will show you what's there now. Working on Razor to FreeView, and now so Jean-Thierry is working on integrating the liquid language into the shape templates also, and the views. So you could mix your views between Razor and Liquid, and you can create themes using Liquid. So it's creating all the helpers needed to create themes in shapes too. Is Ariane working on OpenID, fixing some standard verb accepted here post and some other things. So it's using OpenID, and there are good discussions on the PRs. Guys, master module startup classes now get the same instance service collection and optimization fix also on the startup process, how it gathers all the services from all the startup.
That's a behavior change though as well, right? Because before it was attaching services into their own individual collections and then adding that collection to another collection, whereas this is taking the collection and passing it through.
Yes.
So that's why. So this is the fix to the replace stuff.
Well, I'm not sure. Apparently, it still doesn't work. I don't know. Or maybe I don't know. I have to read again the issue, but it wasn't working before. Maybe it works as you explained that. Maybe it works now. But yeah, it's not just about fixing that. I think this. Do you think it was to fix that?
The replace will. So this change will fix the replace issue, but we still have an issue with iFile type provider or something along those lines. James mentioned.
Well, the goal of this change was not to be able to replace, but so that they are not added multiple times. In this case, you see, if two startups call add MvcCore to be able to pass different options, add MvcCore will check if the service is already registered and not register it. But in this case, because as you explained, they were called on two different collections, both calls to add MvcCore would register the service. And then in the end, we will merge that and there will be two services. And it was an issue for him. So he fixed that by it. And yes, as you're explaining, maybe it's also fixing the remove dependency.
Yeah, maybe.
Okay, we'll see. The issue, we will see it. And documentation I'm working on. Removing, this is the other branch for media I will show. Bug this morning that we found. Added configuring certificate section. So more README information about configuring certificates for OpenID module.
What was the deal with the previous commit forcing root?
So this is on the media branch. This is because the media cache is created on the web folder content root, or the web root content folder, sorry, in the correct order.
Why is that? Why can we not change that?
I will explain. No, it has nothing to do with you. It's media management. You will see. That's it. Zoltan, demo?
Yeah, sure. This is about a new module of ours called Feed Aggregator. I also pasted its link into the chat window because it's up on GitHub, of course, being open source. It's a module for automatically syncing RSS and Atom feeds into Orchard content items. So if you have some blog or some websites somewhere that you want to aggregate some content from, you can do this with this module. And this is how it looks like. You would go to the admin, and I will show you what this Orchard blocks is in a minute, but you may guess. How you would use it is after renaming the module, on the admin you would get such a feed sync profile content item, which is, well, a configuration for synchronizing from some feed. I won't go into details here, so let me show you an existing one. And this will also tell you what this whole thing is about. Well, for example, here's a configuration for Bertrand's blog. You can see that we have the feed URL for it here, and then we can configure which fields in the feed correspond to what kind of, well, either parts or even fields on a part or customly configured content fields. So if you hook this up with a content type, you can basically sync from any kind of feeds with any kind of configuration, as long as it's of the RSS or Atom standard. this will also kick off some background synchronization, of course, so you can specify how much minutes to wait between things. Well, 1 hour is good enough. And by the way, you can also re-sync the whole thing from the feed. But there's a catch, because these feeds generally don't contain all the items of the website, of course. So first time you will just get the last 10 or something like this, unless there is some pagination, and that's also available if the feed has it. And once you have all these set up, you can get something like Orchard blocks. And this is just a small site on .nest, because the module is also available on .nest, that automatically aggregates content from all of the blocks in the Orchard blogosphere. So what we also do on Orchard.project.net by hand, this is done here automatically. Obviously, this is not edited. So there can be blog posts, like, for example, this one, that doesn't have to do anything with Orchard. So this is not instead of Orchard.project.net, but for example, János, who is also working on adding new external blog posts to Orchard.project.net, just as the meeting recordings. He will now look at this site. And you can see we have all the blogs that are kept up to date listed here. So that's it. Even yours, Sebastian, it's here, although you haven't written a blog post in like 2 years or something.
Yeah, but I talk every week. I talk every week. Someone should make blog post with what I say on Tuesdays.
Yeah, well, that's what János also does. 2.5 years, yeah. Well, 3 years. All right, so that's it. I hope it's
that's good.
It's useful for somebody.
Yep, I'm sure. Thank you.
Thank you.
But thinking how we could improve that, how to define the mapping with the properties. We could imagine that if we have the content item in JSON, we could actually format a JSON document with a template and get the RSS item as a parameter, and then you create whatever you want with your RSS item. Work too, but yeah, mapping is simple.
Yeah, it could be also automated, but this is the basic version where you have to do it by hand, but there are some smart defaults as well.
I will show you Orchard 2 status. Let's see my screen now. Let's see that János can see, so that's good. So I have it running. This is my media branch. It's running here. Interesting. Oh, the old bug. Don't worry, I fixed it in the meantime. 5 minutes ago. So this is the website, local one. Okay. Log and so what is update on the media. So on the content media, we have the library, which could be called, if everyone agrees, file manager. Because I'd like to have a media library later, as we talked on the issues. So the folders, here I create a folder of kittens, but they are not kittens, lots of little animals. To import, you have seen that you can click upload files to import. To put files in the file manager, in the folders, you can do upload files and select some files, open, and okay, you see the relative URL. Oh, I should see actually kittens here. Interesting. I should see kittens slash something, not just the file name. Exit. So this is the file which is selected. So that nothing has changed, but now you can also delete files. I did it like 10 minutes ago. So delete the media and it's gone. The change is the change. Oh yeah, fields. You can add fields now. So I have a type. Do I have it on page? Oh, that's the bug. Okay, Antoine mentioned a bug. I forgot to fix it. Oh crap. Okay. So do I have field somewhere? I don't have a field. types, new type, the body out, field, images, save. That so this is the image field with a plus here right now, and if I click plus, there's the same pop-up as in Orchard 1, and when you click the folders you can select an item, say OK, and you get the image here. Okay, and you can add images here, and when you click you can remove the image and whatever you want. Okay, so that's very simple, but simple but powerful. So for those who are here today and didn't see that before, there were some concerns about the way we did that in Orchard 1 and the way we opened the pop-up and it was breaking everything. So just as a reminder, in Orchard 2, so title, in Orchard 2, this thing, the content media, so this thing is exactly same as the pop-up we see when we select an image, meaning it's one shape. It's called the media.application or media_application in the shape name, and this will render this view, exactly this view, and all the JavaScript necessary for the SPA application that is driven by that. So when I go to content items, select the thing I created, and we say plus, this is exactly the same shape which is open here as a modal, and with two buttons, OK, cancel, but we can customize the model as we want. But the thing inside is completely reusable and does all the same feature as the thing which is not model. And you see the same thing. I can delete. OK, boom, everything works. I can say this one. OK, it's there. OK, so that's exactly the same thing, which means it's super easy to integrate the media selection in anything, in a field, in a body here. So let me configure this body, for instance. So content types. If I say that the body is an HTML editor, WYSIWYG editor, some through, I got the HTML editor, and this media now will trigger another model with another set of code for the model and another behavior, but the same editor inside. And it's actually in this full page. So if I inject this one, okay, you see the behavior when I click OK is different from the behavior when I click OK for the field, but it's actually the same JavaScript instance for the editor. It's just that the model will use this instance of the editor differently, like, oh, give me the file which is selected and give me its URL so I can add it here, or instead, or give me its URL so I can generate a tag for the body because I know it's a body. And in this case, it's a liquid tag that says render the file, that file, so the folder name and the file name. It doesn't say anything about is it not a file system on Azure, on anywhere. It just says this is a kitten / this file name. Okay, so which means if tomorrow we migrate from file system to Azure, you won't have to change your contents. This will be the same relative path. Then this is a path, and to get the actual URL from the media file system or for the media store, you pipe it in liquid to media URL, which will convert this media into the actual URL of the media. So in this case, HTTP 5000 / media / the file. And then it's just a URL. So if you need to see the image, you can also pipe it to image tag. It's like a tag helper in MVC that will render the HTML for an image tag. And if we do a preview, you can see this is the rendered image from the body. And this is the rendered result for the field. So it's not rendering the images directly, just the file names. It can be changed, but at the same time it's easier to, I assume every content type with the image field will have to be configured customized for the UI. So what's new also in the media? It's not just the feed, it's also you can resize the images. So for instance, this one, if I look at the source, this is the image I selected, question mark width 240, height 240, okay? So now you can define the size you want for the images in the query string. So it's the exact same URL that you will request, exclamation point, the size you want. So these ones, because they are from the field, they are automatically resized to 240 and in PNG. So that's the case. This one is the original, so you can then change it using another pipe. So you get a media URL, and now you can change the URL by calling resize URL. And Antoine said it was not working. So we see 100. Not working.
You need to surround 100 by quotes, single quote. Oh.
So it's like preview is broken.
Should you have both media URL and resize URL?
They are two different from different features.
So you do pipe one into the other. You need both.
But even the preview doesn't work. Preview is maybe broken. Might be it actually. Let me see. Publish. Issue. That's the issue that Antoine reported, so I will have to fix it. But that's how it works. The URLs work. Let me see if I go to content. Yeah, just to show you the resizer. If I take this thing, this is, and I take the URL. /media/that. So this is the image, the original image, and when you pass here width equals 100, height equals 100, and resize it. Okay, so you can pass not anything. There is a whitelist that is defined in code, but right now, but it will have to be configurable. So there is a matrix of width and height that you can use. So it's limiting the number of images that clients can generate to prevent DOS attacks by filling up your hard disk with all the sizes that you can imagine. You can also pass a mode for resizing. So by default it's max, which will fit the image in the box that you precise here. But you can also have padding, or there are different modes. So this is using image sharp. They have a web middleware that will provide that, and it's caching the result in the www.root folder. That's why I had to create this folder. This is the default location. We will be able to configure it to define, for instance, if we want a cache per tenant, to be able to clear the cache for the tenant. So we will be able to configure it. It's just a preview version of the thing, so that it's not configurable. We can do it where we want if we copy paste the current implementation of the cache provider. But everything is extensible, so that's good. We can do
that. Is that caching? Can you cache in something like I don't know, a distributed cache, for example?
No, you don't want to. Well, yes, you can, but be careful. So So the implementation we have in 01 is wrong. I realized that when I asked the question how to do that to the guy who made the ImageSharp.Web, and he explained how it should work, and then I'm like, yeah, that's totally what we do in Orchard.1 is totally wrong in terms of image cache. So in Orchard.1, if we use Azure, for instance, to store the media, we also store the image cache of the resized items on Azure. Okay?
Right.
But so this way, well, because we do that, we need, when we render the URL, to also render the image on Azure. Okay, so the client cannot specify what size it is, which is good and bad, advantage and disadvantages, but we have to store the image on Azure. What he says we should do is, and this is what I'm doing now in Orchard.2, is use any cache, like locally on the file system, and serve the image from the file system. Even if we store the media on Azure, the resized images will be on the file system. And which means you can pass the core string on the URL because you will ask it to the web server. Even if the media is on Azure, we ask the media on the web server, and we don't go to Azure directly. So you will say it's bad because we also want to use Azure as a CDN, so the users will the URLs will be generated with the Azure URL. But no, the idea is that the CDN itself will be the URL. Okay, so well, we'll be able to generate a CDN URL, but when the CDN gets a URL, it doesn't have to have the media locally. It will just query our server for the resized image, and then store the image dynamically on their system. So we don't have to store the image on Azure. Azure will do it for us by querying the media to the web server. That's the idea. So the CDN.
Oh, right. Okay, I see.
So now we can serve dynamically the images that we need, even if we don't generate the URL by ourselves. So we don't know. Well, that's better for everything. So, and so even if we have two nodes, we can store the caches on two nodes. That's fine. They're just cache.
So what about so I saw that in the code you did, we have an ImageSharp NuGet package which is on our O2 repo.
Yes.
Why is that not in NuGet?
Because they don't have it on NuGet yet. They haven't released it yet. It's just a branch they have on the ImageSharp, the MediaLibrayServiceExtensions branch, to support this middleware. So I had to make the NuGet package myself and host it on our myget feed until they put it on NuGet.
So we're just waiting for them to do that. Okay, fine.
And I wanted to fix some issues and perf issues and bugs, but they say no, wait, because they will move the repository for the .web thing, the resizing from the middleware, to a different repository than the ImageSharp repository, and they said then you will be able to provide pull request and will publish on NuGet.
Okay.
They're working on that.
Right, they're working on that. Okay, cool. So we're using ImageSharp. Is that going to be replaced by the stuff that's coming in within .NET Core 2?
What? Which stuff?
To do with the drawing? I thought that they're porting the drawing APIs or something?
Yes, there is a port currently done by the .NET team, I assume, to support system drawing. But what they are doing is independent from system drawing.
Okay.
But yes, it can replace what system drawing is doing. You can create images, you can resize them, you can open and write files. So that's what they are doing. And they also made a project to serve resize images from the UI.
The .NET team?
No, I'm talking about ImageSharp.
ImageSharp, okay. Okay. I just wondered if the new .NET stuff will replace the ImageSharp stuff, that's all.
I have no idea.
Okay.
Well, there will be two different things, independent things, but do we want to replace with those system drawing? I'm not sure. I would say system drawing is just a convenience for porting apps on .NET Standard 2. That's it.
Yeah, don't use it. Don't.
Okay, fine. Yeah, I mean, I do like the idea of using image sharp. It's more, those guys seem very determined.
System drawing is always going to run on GDI on Windows.
What would it? Yeah, okay. And that's always going to be a bit shit anyway. Okay, fine, cool.
So another change with this branch is that the tokens now, they are all in Liquid. There is no more handlebars. I removed all the handlebars code and removed all the tokens modules because now there is just the Liquid abstractions where you can render templates. So if I go to, for instance, the page or the blog, for instance, or let's start with the page. If I go to page, I look at the auto route, which was using tokens. They are still tokens, but they are Liquid tokens. So they are much simpler. So you get access to the content item property when you're in Liquid in the pattern for auto route. You pipe it to display text, which is a custom run from Orchard, which will extract the display text from the content item property, from any content item. And this display text, which is a title in this case, will be slugified using the slugify filter. And then you have the slug of the content item. Okay. If I go to the blog post, which is more complex than that because it needs the slug of its container, then I will go to content definition post, properties, and here it says also content item, then pipe to container, which will get the content item, which is the container of this one. Okay, so at that point I have the container content item. I call display text, and that's wrong. That's totally wrong.
Yeah, you don't want to solidify the display text, right?
No, that's good. Well, we could get we should get the slug property or the alias property of this thing, but yeah, it's wrong because it's container / content item slugify. So maybe it should be that plus. Plus content item.
Your hands, you've gone quiet again, Sebastian.
Sorry, I don't know what I'm doing, but something like this. It should be something like this. Okay.
That looks a bit nasty.
Well, what is it then? Or it should be something like content item dot auto-route part, but we are not even sure that there is an auto-route part on the thing. But otherwise, it will work like this: auto-route part.
You definitely keep putting your hand over your microphone.
No, I don't have my hand on my microphone. I don't know. Is that it?
Yeah, that's it. That whatever you just did, you're tapping it.
Yeah. So the microphone are on the left and right of the camera, and I'm not putting my hands on the camera, which is at the top of my screen, and my keyboard is at the bottom of my screen. Maybe it's where I talk to. Maybe if I talk to my keyboard, you don't hear me. If I talk to the camera, that's better. We'll see. So yes, that's I have to fix that. But yeah, I like the fact that we say container, and then we can access all the properties or all the filters. That's much simpler than what we had to do with handlebars.
I think I actually preferred the previous Liquid syntax that you had rather than using .autoroute part.
Sure, I agree too, and that's better semantically because you don't even know if this thing, the container, has an autoroute part. So yeah, that's good. Display.
Yeah, it's nice not to have to deal with those part tokens in here. So
or we can say also URL, like give me the URL, and then something like this. I don't know.
It would be. Do you know what would actually be really nice in here? Is a button to say test this against a content item and see what comes out.
Which content item? We are the content type definition. Yeah, and you have. I don't know.
You know, like just a test button. I think that's actually something that we missed from 001. Is just a button to say test this and see if it actually works.
You try it, and in 3 weeks after failing, you come back and you say, sorry, we can't do that because of that. And there are so many reasons you can't do that.
Well, there's so many reasons we can't test.
How do you test here? What do you test? You edit. You have another tab with a full form for the current content type, because it can be anything.
Well, can't you just say test against a content item
Which one? It's not even existing maybe when you create the auto-route part. And maybe this, so no, I mean, type it, open a new editor, publish, and you will have the correct value. That's you can even use the preview if you want. You just preview your content item with the, you save that and you preview, because you still need to save that to get it into the database, and yeah, so I'm confident that will work. And it will be predefined, so we'll have examples. So new blog. So if I go to content, items, blog, and I say this one, I didn't say I want to change it, but new blog post. It doesn't show up anymore. It used to show up, it doesn't show anymore. I broke everything. It's broken. I have to fix it. Broke everything. Okay. That's good. That's why also we do demos. We see the issues, feedback. So that's it. No more tokens. Just liquid. Also by default now everybody evaluates templates. So if I type something like this and review, and I type here this, I broke the preview. What's happening? The preview is broken. It was working so nice with the images and everything. I will select new images, they will appear because you. It's crazy. Oh my god. You can do something like templates like this. So if I go back to if you have the fields properties, so if you want to display a carousel, for instance, you will just, even from your body, you could do that for image in content item dot, let's say it's a foo type, foo.images, which is a list of content item. You will then do and for to close your template. And then here you can say image dot, it will be, so this is the image content item, and this is the field. Oh, this is not, this is the image. Oh, this is a list of strings actually. So for each URL, because this field has a list of URL. So you say URL, media URL, and then EMG tag, and then it renders all the images in a tag, in image EMG tag. Okay, that will work. You can do it directly from the body if you want, but that's it. I will do some examples when it works correctly. Can I miss some questions? Can't hear. Okay, well, it was 15 minutes ago. Nope, good. Yeah, I will have to come with some samples to show you exactly how it works and how to use it, but I think it will be very, very powerful. Fix this preview. That's it. So yeah, I will work on polishing the experience and fixing all the little bugs so that everything is perfect. And I will try to make a blog. Yeah, and some theming also with the liquid, just to be sure we can do everything we need. Maybe a widget. I need a widget for the media to be able to inject the media from widget, because with the flow page, it's better to organize the things. And to be sure, I can create a carousel widget just with some little templating and media feed, and that should do it. Questions? Comments?
No, it looks rad, man. I like it. I really do like the syntax.
So there is a liquid page also, but it's been there for a while. So this is just the liquid editor here. The nice thing with that is if you type an object and you don't know which properties are inside, so say preview, you get, or in this case, not the case. Why is that? Content item.
Do you have to pipe it?
Content. No, it's not content, I think. But now it's broken. The preview is completely broken. I don't know why.
Oh, the preview automatically updates, so you can just keep typing and keep testing.
Yes, that's what the preview is for, and it works. But when you type .content, for instance, or like .liquid page, which is a part, then it will write the JSON of the object. So you see all the properties and all the values that are on the content item. So it's very simple then to see what you can use. You just type dot, and you see on the right what's available. So it's very useful.
Our default editor is Markdown, right?
For what? The default editor for the blog post is a Markdown.
Is Markdown? Okay, yeah.
As for the page, it's HTML editor.
Oh, is it? Oh, yeah, for the page. Okay, that's fine. Yeah.
We have the two of them. And the default blog post is configured with Markdown, and the default page is configured with HTML, the WYSIWYG. But it's changeable in the recipe or anywhere.
Yeah. Okay, that's cool.
Okay, good then. So, all done. See you next week or on Thursday for the triage.